नमस्कार, आदाब, सत श्री अकाल। मैं डॉक्टर दलजीत कौर एक बार फिर आप सबके सामने एक नई गेस्ट को लेकर आ रही हूँ जो कि बहुत ही इन्फ्लुएंशियल है। तो उससे पहले एक छोटी सी शायरी। किताबों से ज़्यादा जिंदगी पढ़ाती है, हर बच्चे के अंदर रोशनी जगाती है, खुद चुप रहकर हर बच्चे को बोलना और आगे बढ़ना सिखाती है। तो दोस्तों, कौन है ये एजुकेशनिस्ट, टीचर, जो कि हमारे बचपन से जो सबसे पहली किताब हमें, पहला अक्षर हमें सिखाती है, वो है हमारी टीचर। और वो कहाँ होता है? हमारे स्कूलों में। तो आज हम आपको एक ऐसी एजुकेशनिस्ट से मिलाने जा रहे हैं जो बहुत ही इंस्पिरेशनल है और बहुत इन्फ्लुएंशियल है। तो चलिए ज़्यादा टाइम ना लेते हुए मैं बुलाती हूँ हिना जी को।
So my name is Hina Vashti Raut. I run an educational institute named as Shri Bhavan Swati Public School in Bhopal, a legacy of 20 years inculcating values, innovation and education in young generation of our country.
That's wonderful, Hina ji, because it's you says that it's 20 years of legacy of running a school. That means the children who have studied from your school might be in colleges, and some of them have even gone for a higher studies. Like, you know, that's a great building the career of children. So I would like to ask you one question: what motivated you to be a teacher or be an educationist, and how did you started this journey?
I started my journey, it was a turning point in my career. By profession, I was a software engineer. I was working with IBM Pune, and I got married in Bhopal. So when I came to Bhopal, I was like, there is no IT industry, so what should I do? So one day, on request of my mother-in-law, I went to school. And I spent few hours with the children, especially the little ones, and few of them came and hugged me because I was very new to the institute, and I gave them chocolates and some gifts I took. So I distributed those toffees and chocolates to them, and they felt very happy. And when they started giving me that affection and love and welcoming gestures every day I visit the school, I realized that yes, I love this environment and I want to do something for them, because without any expectation from them, I started doing something new every day for them. And since that day, I realized that yes, I can work in a school as well, though I didn't know anything about education, not even how to teach in a pre-primary class as well. So that was the time when I realized that yes, I can work in school, I can devote my time and energy, and moreover, I can utilize my experience to build these young children, young minds of our country who are actually waiting for some support, some guidance at the right time. So I started working in school, and it's been 15 years I'm working in school, and I'm very happy and proud to be a part of Shri Bhavan Swati Public School, because it is such an institute where we religiously work to unlock the potential of each and every student of our school. We try to give them the best of exposure, best of amenities and possibilities where they can explore themselves, where they can understand that this is what I want, and their parents are also very happy and satisfied that yes, our children are in the right hands.
This is so wonderful. This is so wonderful that your mother-in-law started a school, and you being an IB from the IT sector, and I think your purpose was to build the career and build the future of the children. That is what was your purpose, and so your destiny took you to Bhopal and start this school. And your mother-in-law got a very recent, highly educated in hand with her doing teaching the children. That's wonderful. So
it is her guidance as well.
Yes. So another question I want to ask you, because nowadays, you know, the children, they are not ready to read and write. I've seen that they don't want to write. Immediately they go, because they're so much used to laptop and so much used to mobile, they quickly type it. But they don't want to write on the books. How do you face this kind of things in the school?
Yes, this is a problem. Children don't want to write. But in our school, what we do, madam, that is since the beginning, since the child is of 5 years old, because 6 years old child should be in grade one where they are supposed to write. So when they reach senior KG or like KG2 classes, we emphasize upon writing skills and reading as well, as because reading starts from pre-nursery itself, because they start speaking. So when you start speaking, at some point of time, you have to identify the letters or the words, and then you start reading, and automatically you start speaking. But in school, we have to give ample of opportunities to children to speak, to express themselves. First of all, the expression has to be very good. They should learn how to speak very well in their own terms, in their own language. And when they are ready, when they are thorough with speaking skills, and when it comes to writing, there is a clarity in their mind that what they are supposed to write, and then they start writing. When the child is confused, he doesn't know, she doesn't know that what to write and how to write, then they actually become reluctant towards writing. So this clarity should be brought in children, that yes, whatever you have read is understood by you, is comprehended by you, and then you start writing. Now, for writing, we work upon the finger muscles.
Yes.
Because these muscles need to be strong enough, and the tripod which we give them practice for, that yes, this tripod should be made. तो जब बच्चा ये ट्राइपॉड बनाना सीख जाता है, तो ऑटोमेटिकली वो पेंसिल पकड़ना सीख जाता है. जब वो पेंसिल पकड़ लेता है, तो उसको लिखने में भी अच्छा लगता है. Yes, it is very true. After 10-15 minutes of time, they try to stop writing. So we give them this relaxation. Okay, you can stop for a while. But you should resume writing. You should never stop writing. Because in today's time, in digital world, people are not writing. Realize that yes, reading, writing, and speaking, three of the skills are equally important, and most important is listening. And third is we allow them to play in the natural environment like sand. So they play with the sand pit. So when they are using when there is a usage of hands, automatically their hands hand muscles are becoming stronger. And once the muscles are strong enough, they are able to write properly.
Because there's a saying, like when a person writes, the message passes on to the brain, and whatever they write, it gets registered in the brain. So since children don't want to write, so that muscles have become very weak. And that's a good exercise which your school is doing for the children.
Yeah, we do brain gym as well. Brain gym exercises. That is also equally important. The hand, eye, and brain coordination is also important. What you are thinking should come on the paper. So for that matter, brain gym exercises are equally important.
That's wonderful. I also heard that your school is more into vocational and talent hunting. Like you focus more on enhancing the talent of children, as the entrepreneurship is more people want to do their own business. So can you tell me, like, what exactly is the motive of your school?
Our motive is unlocking the potential of each and every child of our school. And for that matter, we have to give ample of opportunities to children to explore their interest areas. And for that matter, we have almost 16 plus enrichment activities in our school, and various vocational skills where they learn to explore their own interests, because they themselves don't know what they like. So they keep attending various activities, and when they experience these activities, they realize, okay, this one is of my interest and I should explore more into this. So they and when child chooses one particular activity and they realize that yes, this interests them, and they pursue it for almost 12 years or for some more years, so they develop certain efficiency, and when the efficiency is built, they become confident about it. So this confidence helps them to pursue that particular activity. And once the confident child knows that what he or she wants, they can do anything. Because if a child is not confident enough, they will not be able to explore anything new. They will always be scared of exploring or encountering something new. So confidence building is very important, and for that matter, we should allow children to explore more and more and build their own skill set.
So how do you build up the confidence of the children? Because I've seen, like, in some families nowadays, the families are very disturbed, single parents, and then so much of exposure of negativity is around. So you might be facing some kind of challenges in the school, because when the children who come from a single family, they are very introvert. So how do you manage this kind of children?
We give them a lot of stage opportunities, ma'am. We allow them to speak. Doesn't matter how you speak, what you speak, but you should come and learn to face the crowd, because when they are standing in front of the audience or the crowd, they initially really feel very scared, and after 2-3 attempts they become confident. And for that matter, we have one very important activity in our school which helps them to become leaders or builds confidence, that is called school cabinet election. It's a almost 6 months long process, because first of all we announce the nominees, and then we have the campaign across the campus, and then we have polling, and then we have announcement. And after the announcement we have a very formal ceremony called investiture ceremony. So it's a long process, and we have children from primary to grade 12. So we have a junior cabinet and a senior cabinet. So the junior cabinet means the grade 1 child who has just come to the school and formal setup, and he's learning how to build leadership skills and how to lead his own class, how to report to the teacher. So this is how they learn and build confidence. They learn how to communicate, and at the same time they will become very confident, because when people are coming to them and sharing their concerns, and teacher is asking, did you do this, did you do that, do you have anything to share? So they feel important about themselves. They, yes, I am important in the school, I'm able to do something, I'm good for something. So this is how these little ones also build confidence in themselves. And then at certain point of time they become good orators and leaders as well, because once they are in grade 9, 10, they are very confident and they become good orators and they lead the school. So senior cabinet is always the one who leads the junior cabinet as well. And along with it, there are many more opportunities for the children, like school assembly is one of the example which is done on a daily basis. So we have 4 houses in our school. So each house gets chance to represent themselves. I mean, each member of the house gets chance to represent. So someone is going to really announce the news of the day, someone is thought of the day, someone is some important announcement related to the achievements of their houses. So every now and then we keep trying to give stage opportunities to the children to face the audience, and I'm sure this helps them to build the confidence. And second is in my school we have developed this culture that we are not the teachers, we are the mentors and the felicitators.
Yes.
Once we realize that we are the mentors and the felicitators, we support the child to progress. We are not focused on marks, we are focused on the progress of the child.
Correct.
Whether the child is able to improve or not, and where are we failing to help the child, that is very, very important. And for that matter, we have a lot of teachers training programs, like CBSE also has 50 hours teachers training program. But apart from it, me myself and my principal also take a lot of training programs for the teachers, so that they also learn and upgrade themselves with time. Because I believe that no one batch is same, no 2 batches are same.
Correct.
Every year you get a different batch, because every child is coming from a different family background, different set of parents. So their thought process, their behavior, their way of accepting things is different. So teachers have to upgrade themselves, and once teacher is well equipped, when teacher is upgraded, it is very easy for the teacher to handle the parents as well as the students. Because we believe in our school, we follow one philosophy, that the child is in the center of a circle, and the school, teacher and the parent are in the surrounding. Once these 3 entities are in coordination, child development will definitely be at its own optimum level. Otherwise,
That's
if
very
any
right.
of these entities are disconnected, then child development is very challenging.
Exactly, I do believe
Thank you.
that, Hinaji, because school hours are there. Half of the life of a student, of a child, is in the school, and the rest half is at home. So both atmospheres are very, very different, isn't it? So
Very
now,
different, yes.
now at home, if he's facing something that frustration sometimes comes back in the school and goes to the other children. And even the teachers,
Yes.
I feel, if they are single parent, So even they do have a frustration, which sometimes they throw it on the children. So that is why the
Yes.
upgradation, which you are saying, the child in the center, it's a beautiful initiative, because in some families, parents, they don't give time to the children, and the children, they scroll on to the different thing.
Yes.
So what I
Yes,
believe,
yes.
it is the duty of the school as well as of the parents. It's
Yes,
not one
yes,
person.
definitely. Because child belongs to parent, school, teacher, all three of the entities.
All three of them.
Because we cannot completely say that the school is responsible or parent is
Parent is
responsible.
responsible.
Because child is exposed to various environments and children learn from their environment. Rather, we tell them to follow something, they pick up things from their environment. Hence, environment has to be very conducive for the children to develop. What kind of child you want, what kind of children you want from your school, that kind of environment has to be built in the school. If you want happy, innovative children, so the environment has to be innovative. Whatever the solutions or innovations they are coming up with, the school should be ready to accept instead of discouraging them. Once you build this culture in the institute, automatically a lot of things take place. And hence we say that the school is the second home for the
Yes.
children. Right?
I believe it is the first
School
home.
is the second
I
home.
believe it is the first home, and second home,
First home is
children.
always the first home.
Children go
but
home
the
and sleep.
school yes. Yeah, because they sleep, they cry, they eat, they play. A lot of the activities they perform in the school. But if the school is not built with that environment which is required for the child development, then it is just a concrete building. And we don't believe in concrete buildings are the schools. School is a place where you are creating a separate or not separate, a conducive environment where child is free to explore more and more. जैसे पहले बच्चे मिट्टी से खेला करते थे, पहले बच्चे randomly कहीं भी जाया करते थे, तो they used to develop lot of skills. For example, social skills. They learned पहले शायद इतना गेम्स वगैरह नहीं हुआ करते थे, बच्चे घर में ही इतने सारे सिबलिंग्स कजिन्स हुआ करते थे, उनके सोसाइटीज में रहते थे, तो दे यूज्ड टू गो एंड प्ले विद देम. सो दे लर्न the sense of security, they learned social skills, they learned mental skills, mental development was done. But now as we have progressed economically, families have become nuclear. So that doesn't mean that the child's need will degrade or will reduce. Children's need will always remain same. We just need to change the ways and means to provide that environment. If the home is not able to, if the family or the parents are not able to provide in some way due to some genuine reasons, it is the responsibility of the school to provide, because school is supposed to handle so many children coming from various backgrounds, from various set of geographical regions. So it is the duty of the school, and we try our level best.
One question I want to ask you, because it's 15 years, did you face any kind of a challenge with any child who is very stubborn and did not want to listen to teacher and changed after motivation, or any kind of a challenge you can just share with us?
Yeah, there are. I think every second class has such kind of children. It is nothing new for us. We have a lot of children who are very adamant, very stubborn in their behavior, and when they come to the school, they perform that way only. They showcase that behavior. And after a certain period of time being in the school, they realize that yes, this is not correct. This is not there, because environment changes. When the environment changes, children realize the difference and consequences of that behavior. If the environment remains same, it is very difficult for the child to understand that what he or she is doing is correct or incorrect. So for that matter, we have to be, first of all, very conducive, very welcoming to the child, and we should try to counsel the child without the judgment. Because once we pass the judgment about the child becomes very sure that I'm like that. I will always be like that. So we should not pass a judgment about any child, because they are in a moldable stage We can mold them in any form. And teacher, as I said, the teachers are the mentors and the felicitators. So when we know that the YA child is suffering, so we follow one policy in our school that is called RCA, root cause analysis.
Oh, great.
So we try to dig out the root cause of his behavior, that what is the reason. We try to meet the parents. Sometimes parents are also reluctant to meet and discuss these issues. So we try to counsel the mother, because mother is the closest entity to the child. And if mother is able to express that what are the challenges she's facing, we try to answer, we try to solve. And if father is involved in this, we try to speak to the father as well. And if it is related to grandparents, then we tell both the parents that you have to counsel your parents, because it is a matter of your future. Your child is your future. And if this child is not taken care properly, your future will be at risk. So they realize, they understand, and somehow I feel that it is very important for the teacher to understand this. And after once the child is in a happy stage, once the child is happy and confident, parent also realize that yes, this analysis was worth enough. It was supposed to be done, because there was no one to do it. Hence we didn't know that this was the problem. So we try to analyze the problem and convey it to the parent, and then we take the feedback from the parent, that how is the response of the child at home, and what changes you have brought in your family environment. And we observe the child over a period of time, and we observe his progress as well, behavior as well, and then we report to the parents. So this cycle we follow in our school, that is called RCA, which is very effective, I believe. And we keep it confidential. We do not disclose it to any other parent or any other child, because otherwise parents lose confidence over this, on the school. So we do not try, we try to keep it as confidential as possible. And we just involve one or two teachers who are really in touch with the child, not all the teachers, because our class has almost 6 to 7 teachers involved. Not necessarily that all the teachers should be informed about it. Only one, maybe the class teacher or a side coordinator. These 2-3 teachers should be informed about it, and then they coordinate and try to solve the problem. So luckily, we do not have any child in our school, or in the history of 20 years, we didn't have any child who has suffered with depression. This is the achievement of our institute. We do not have a single child who has suffered with depression or anxiety, because we are dealing with these issues on a daily basis. Not a monthly process or a quarterly process. It's like a regular process in our school. We have 3 coordinators. They coordinate, they discuss. At the end of the day, my team, the senior team, sits together and they come up with these solutions to address these issues. So it helps children and parents as well.
That's wonderful. See, I think every school should have that, since it looks like what I can feel that you are very passionate about making the future of children. So you are, that shows in your body language, because every point which you have changed in your school, it shows that you are very much confident कि मुझे बच्चों की life को change करना है. Because nowadays the challenges are too big, because due to digital and social media. So have you ever faced like some children that they bring some kind of social media videos, or they discuss something like which is very, very negative? So what kind of challenges, and if you face, how did you get rid of that?
Challenges, first is very important, is gender discrimination, which is very important, and this is very much visible in bio classes. You will see whenever there is any such topic is taught, children feel very uncomfortable, unrest. They don't feel like to discuss. And let us say when girls get their puberty, it becomes a very sensitive moment for them, and they feel very ashamed of themselves. that we have got this, and nowadays this particular thing has resumed. I mean, it has started at a very early stage. So fourth, fifth girls are feeling very uncomfortable that why we have got this, and sometimes boys also start teasing them. So this becomes very uncomfortable for the girls, children to handle. So we try to address it, and this is why we have started taking expert sessions for the teachers as well as for the girl children and the boys as well, from the grade from fourth grade itself, because puberty starts at the age of 9 only nowadays.
Yes,
8 or
very
9.
early. Yeah.
Very early. So we have started taking such sessions for the children because we invite experts. We are not experts in this. So we try to invite experts like gynecologists and other
Counselors.
mental health doctors, counselors, and they come and talk to the children. So there are some children who have actually faced such challenges, and they don't want to discuss with anybody in the school or their parents as well. So they feel very comfortable to talk to the doctor, because they want to go to the they want to know the reason that why I have got
Curiosity.
this particular thing so early. What is wrong with me? Where I'm lacking? So there is no reason of being lacking or being deficit for something. It is like a natural process. So the doctor tries to the doctor tries to make them understand, and when she says it or counsels them in a scientific way, they understand and they accept the fact that okay, fine, it's fine. So in few months only we see the change in children, that yes, they are happy, they're confident, and they are able to handle this particular challenge. And second, in boys, generally when they get mustache, that is a challenging point for them, because they don't like mustache on their face. And there are many other challenges, like sometimes we have seen boys carrying hookah.
Okay.
So, cited. So this is a fascination for them, that how does it taste? How does it smell? So we try to counsel them, and we don't have any such challenges. Only one or two children will bring it, and because we have a random bag checking system in our school. So our PTIs will go randomly to the classrooms and just check out the bags. So they find, and instead of humiliating the child or scolding in front of the class, we call out the child and we speak to the child separately. And then they automatically share their curiosity or the reason to bring it to the school, because families possibly do not allow all these things, and they don't have enough opportunities to step out of the house, or moreover they go to the coaching classes. So in coachings they actually pick up these things.
Correct.
Then,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But, so coaching is nowadays is becoming a source of information for them, where they get a lot of new things to explore. So they feel like, okay, I'll go to the school, and during recess or maybe during the dispersal time in the bus, I will try to. So though the bus teachers are there in every bus, but still they try to escape from every possible way. So these are the few challenges we face, and we try to address them on a daily basis itself.
Yes.
So this is why we do not have any children suffering from any depression or anxiety. They are very happy. And I'm proud that all the alumni of our school are very well settled, happy, successful, very well established. We have few very good achievers of our school as well. They are doing wonderfully good. I mean, some of them are established at a national level, or some of them are at international level. So this is how we keep working with the children, because we are working with a living being. It's not someone who is working on a fixed pattern. Right?
So that's wonderful, Hina ji. It's very nice
Yes.
hearing from you that your school is focusing not only on the books, but focusing on the overall personality, the persona of a child, because the child has to face so many ups and downs once he comes out of school or college, when they really live their life. So those challenges, the bookish knowledge does not help them. It is the practical knowledge.
Yes.
So what practical knowledge your school is giving, it is really building up the total aura of a child and the confidence level that they can fight any kind of challenges. So one last question.
Yes.
What advice would you give to the today's children, the Gen Z people?
The advice is everybody should work on their skill set. Skills should be built. Doesn't matter whether it is related to digital world or technical world or any vocational. But please do work on your skills, because without skills you will be nowhere in future. No one is going to come back and give you the jobs or look for you unless and until you have a skill. So please do work on your skill set and build it up as soon as possible, because in today's time, the younger you are, the better you are.
So friends, आपने देखा, you have seen how Hina ji has explained so well the way they are working in the school. Is her saying is skill development, because if your skills are developed, you can face any kind of challenges in life. Because yes, bookish knowledge is there, because that keeps you awakening that what was happening in the past and how you can overcome that. But yes, skill development is very important. In the coming time, more and more skilled people will be able to survive, because jobs, you cannot depend on the jobs. So here we end today our session. If you want to share your story, so do contact us. Till then, goodbye, take care.